How did you change the screen right now? Right now, I have the banner of the program is visible to me. So instead of my screen, how that change can be done? I'm new
Yes,
to.
yes, sir. I am the host of the session. So initially, we are going to introduce yourself. For that, we have presented your
No, but
screen.
is it possible to change the screen also during?
Yes, sir. During the session, only host can change the
Okay.
screen.
So
Anybody cannot change.
as a host, if you wish, you can stop the presenter also.
Yes, sir. I can.
Acha, okay.
And you are also co-host, so you can also stop the screen if anybody can misuse the screen. You can also stop this screen.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Just let me know and give me 2 minutes before we start.
Sure, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. I, Sandeep Patel, welcome to all of you in the third session of the Faculty Development Program. We will continue the session of the day. The topic for the day, topic of the session is application of additive manufacturing for composite materials, which will be delivered by Dr. H.K. Dave, sir. On behalf of Tapi Diploma Engineering College, I welcome Dr. H.K. Dave, sir, in 5 days online faculty development program. Before starting the session, I would like to give brief introduction about him. Dr. H.K. Dave is working as Associate Professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering at SVNIT Surat. He completed his Masters in Mechanical Engineering from MS University and PhD from SVNIT Surat, having total experience of 16 years. His area of research are unconventional and micro machining process, 3D printing and additive manufacturing processes, fabrication and characterization of composite modelings, and optimization of manufacturing processes. He has undertaken research and consultancy projects of worth 5 million. He has 125 research publications and 12 patents to his credit, out of which 3 are granted and 9 are applied. Also delivered more than 50 expert lectures at various venues. We are grateful to have such a decorated personality between us for the today's session. Now I request Dr. H.K. Dave, sir, to start this session.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, sir.
So thank you very much for inviting me to this program and inviting me to discuss about something about the application of additive manufacturing for composite materials. Is my slide visible in full screen mode? Hello?
So slides are visible in full screen mode, sir.
Okay. So first and foremost, I wish to express my sincere thanks to the Institute for inviting me to this session. And I also thank Dr. Patil for nice introduction. Today I would going to talk about application of additive manufacturing for composite materials. These are some of the topics which I wish to discuss, and more or less my discussion would focus on different types of composites where form of a combination of fibers, metals, ceramics, and nanoparticles is concerned. And at the end I would sum up with some of the research scope that are available for us in present day. So when we talk about composites, composites are either natural or man-made materials which are created from two or more constituent materials having significantly different physical and chemical properties, and the way in which the composites differ from the alloys is that these two or more constituents remain separate and distinct at the microscopic scale within the structure, and still the structure demonstrates the good properties of both or more the constituent materials. Today we know that composites have found applications in various fields like textiles, paper industry, acoustics, portable power sources, energy production devices, sports equipment goods, civil engineering applications, automotive parts, as well as aerospace and aircraft industry. So with such a wide scope of applications, composites, manufacturing and their characterization is always a very important and big task. Now, if we see the traditional way of making the composites, there are basically two ways in which this can be done. Manufacturing processes, the one of the method is hello.
Hello.
Yeah, am I audible?
Sir, now you are audible.
Yeah. Okay. One of the technique is the hand layup technique. In this case, in the hand layup technique, what we need to do is we need to apply the fiber fabric in a selected mold, and then we put up the resin over it, and once we allow it to cure, maybe naturally or maybe under pressure, then it takes up the shape of the mold, and accordingly it helps to create the composite. The other way of making the composite is by resin transfer molding process. Here this can be done under pressure or maybe under vacuum. And in this case, we have a closed die in which the fiber fabric is placed, and this fiber fabric is filled with the resin either under pressure or in case of vacuum assisted infusion by creating vacuum inside. And then this is allowed to cure, and once that is done, a composite part, maybe flat or maybe of a selected shape, is produced. Now, There are other similar processes, but these are the two major ways in which traditionally the composites are manufactured. Now, when we talk about the
Hello? 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 Sir, you are not audible. Hello? Mr. Wagane, look into the matter, please.
hello, am I audible?
Now you are audible, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, so in this case, you need very high skills and greater costs are involved. Now, if you want to overcome this, 3D printing becomes a attractive alternate because it is possible to go for low to medium production volumes, and it is also possible to go for highly customized parts. So in a way, if we can employ 3D printing for the making of composites, then it is possible to carry out rapid prototyping also. We can also go for personalized devices or structures having complex geometries, and it is also possible to go for highly functional parts. So we'll see about these things in some detail along with our discussion. Now, today I wish to discuss four different types of composites. One of them is the fiber reinforced composites, followed by polymer nanocomposites, polymer ceramic composites, and polymer metal composites. So the polymer remains common amongst them, and we have the addition of metals, ceramics, nanoparticles, and fibers into it. So this is what would be our line of discussion. Now, when we talk about 3D printing process, there are basically four processes which are being employed as on date for fabricating.
Hello? Hello?
Sir, you are not audible. Hello.
They may be chopped fibers or they may be continuous fibers. However, when we use these fibers for fabricating these composites in FDM, the problem of nozzle clogging becomes an issue because often the fibers, especially in the chopped condition, they may create some sort of clogging in the nozzles and may result into poor extrusion of the material. When the fiber loading increases, then in that case, as compared to the polymer matrix, when the fiber increases, the interlayer fusion is weakened, and so the interlaminar strength is also weakened. So though this being a very widely used process, often the strength of the fibers are the strength of the composite with these fibers is slightly compromised. When we talk about the SLA based process, when we talk about the SLA based process, we use the uh, liquid resin as the raw material, and photopolymerization is the method by which this is being done. UV light is thrown on a selected portion of the resin, which is cured and it becomes solidified, and then the layer is slightly moved down and the new resin layer comes up, which is again
Hello? Hello? Sir, you are not audible.
So there are two ways in which the composite materials can be prepared. The first one being the pre-mixing of the reinforcement and the resin. And in that case, what we do is we mix the short fibers or the chopped fibers into the liquid resin, and when it is cured, the fiber remains inside the resin. The other way is to disperse the fiber on the surface of the resin. So when we try to disperse, usually in case of continuous fibers or maybe in case of a fiber mat, this is being used. One of the layer of the resin is cured, and then over this layer the continuous fibers or the fiber mat is laid, and then the new layer of resin is passed through it, which is being cured. So after continuous method of curing one after the other, what we observe is that this continuous fibers or the fiber mats get integrated inside the resin. So this is how this process is carried out. Now when we talk about the laminated object manufacturing, the LOM process, here the fibers are prepacked. So you have a paper sheet, and in this paper sheet we have put up the fibers reinforced inside it, and these prepacked sheets are used as the raw material. So as can be seen in the figure, you have two different coils.
Hello. Hello. Hello, sir. You are not audible.
Take up role. The new portion, the new surface comes, wherein for the next layer cutting is being done. Now when we talk about the SLS process, in case of SLS, you know that the source, the raw material is in the powdered form. So here you have some polymer as the powder, and in that polymer chopped fibers are mixed evenly, and this very micro size of the fibers, maybe carbon fiber or glass fiber, that is mixed into certain proportion, and then the lesser source is passed, and with the help of this lesser heat, the polymer powders along with the fibers are fused together to generate a solid layer. And then again, as usual, the table moves down and the new layer of the powder with the fiber is placed over it, and eventually this is how the part is generated. Usually polyamide and polystyrene are the thermoplastic polymers which are being used as the matrix material as far as the SLS process is concerned. So these are the four different 3D printing processes which are being used, but the most widely used one is the FDM process. So I would emphasize more on the way in which the FDM 3D printing can be used for the fabrication of FRCs, the fiber reinforced composites. Now fibers can be reinforced in 3D printed composites in four as a whole with the polymer in the component. So these are four ways in which this is being done. Two of them we have tried, so I will discuss about some of our results also now. The first method which I talked about is embedding the fiber manually into the printed layers. So a similar work, a very interesting work is reported by Mori and his team, wherein they have tried to embed the fiber manually within the printed layers. So the first task is to print one of the layer. So one of the layer is printed. You can see this layer is printed, and on these layers, maybe if as per the design, there may be couple of layers printed, and after the selected number of layers are printed, we may manually place the fiber. So here in this case they have placed the carbon fibers, as can be seen. after placing this carbon fiber immediately after printing the previous layer, so that it can slightly get stuck up on a partially heated layer. After putting up these carbon fibers, we will again start depositing the next layer over it, and this is how the part is
Hello? Dr. Dave sir, you are not audible. Hello? Hello? Hello?
बात करता हूँ.
Hello?
Hello,
Ah,
am I audible now?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So there is some technical interruption.
Yeah, I believe there may be some glitches with the connectivity, I suppose. Okay. Just give me a second.
Sure, sir.
Okay, so should I continue now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this case, very interesting work is reported wherein they carried out the heating of these components. So what they did was, under a controlled condition, they heated few of the samples, and they observed that after heating these components, it gave better strength to the part. So as can be seen in this slide, when there is no thermal bonding taking place, when the part is not heated properly, so when you carry out the tensile testing of this part, you observe that the carbon fiber
Hello?
resulting into the breaking of the fibers also along with the polymer. So this can be seen, the fibers have broken over here, whereas in the previous case they did not break. So one finding is that when we are trying to embed carbon fibers, or in that way maybe we can generalize for any fibers with certain polymers, if they can be mixed evenly by proper heating process, then it may result into some better bonding, and eventually resulting into the increase in the strength of the component. The other method is to embed the fiber prior to injection. So what you do is, you create a filament and you mix the fibers in the filament. So when you are fabricating, when you are extruding a filament, at that time itself you mix certain proportion of fibers into it, and you create the filament with the fibers embedded into it, and hence we can directly print the filament. Fibers would be directly embedded into the part. So you can have single or double screw extruder through which this fiber particles in certain proportion can be mixed with the polymers, and extrusion can be carried out. We have tried this at our lab, and I'll share those results in couple of slides. One important observation reported by Technelp and his team was about the improvement in the strength that the polymer exhibits when carbon fiber is mixed into it.
Dave sir? Hello?
Hello,
Ah, yes, sir.
am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so when this task is being done, when the neat polymer is deposited, you observe that the void between the layers of polymer is to the tune of 100 microns. So often we tend to go for 100 microns as the raster thickness. So if such large quantity or size of void is observed, then it reduces the strength. So this in relative graph, this was the strength that was exhibited by the neat ABS part. As compared to this, the strength exhibited by some aluminum alloy component was slightly higher. It was exhibited at certain value. Now when 30% carbon fiber is mixed with ABS, so when you create a filament with 30% involve 30% of the concentration of the carbon fiber, what you observe is when you print them, this size, the void that you observe, drastically reduced to less than 30 microns.
Hello. Okay, sir.
Sir, you are not audible.
Hello.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. You
Yeah.
are audible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There is some problem, I suppose, with.
Sir, we can do one thing. You log out first and again then sign in into the Zoom account
Okay.
so that we can.
Okay.
Put session.
Let us try that also. Yes, just a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah. Yes, sir. The participant be with us. That will join again in 2 minutes. Just a network issue.
Okay. So is this slide visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. You may have to edit the presentation later on to remove such glitches in between the video before you upload to the portal.
Yes, sir. Sir, we will do it, sir.
Yeah, it is going to increase your task definitely.
It's not an issue.
Okay, so what we observe is that when neat ABS is printed, as compared to that, the ABS with 30% of carbon fiber exhibits quite better strength, even better than what aluminum alloy 6061 exhibits. So in a way, 30% concentration of carbon fiber with ABS gives a better option as compared to even aluminum 6061 alloy. So that is one very good observation reported by a research team. The third way of carrying out this task is by embedding the fiber in the nozzle. So what happens, as can be seen in the figure, is you have a single nozzle, and through this nozzle you have two different spools. One is the spool for polymer and other is the spool for the fiber. Now both of them remain separate. They are passed under pressure, under tension through the nozzle, and when the deposition takes place, the deposition is a combination of the polymer as well as the fiber. So Lee and his team reported some important results as far as the PLA polymer with carbon fiber embedded into it is reported. Both of these materials pass through the nozzle, a single nozzle, and they get deposited together. However, they maintain their distinct characteristics initially outside the nozzle, as well as inside the part that is being printed. And as can be seen, it gives you a reasonably good outcome. And you can see that a very open source 3D printer is being used by them for this activity, and a good quality of part can be deposited. However, pulling action of this deposited mixture plays a very important role. Otherwise, if there is reduction in the tension that is there within the polymer and the fiber, it may not help us to deposit the material properly. Finally, I come to the fourth way in which the fibers are embedded along with the polymer, and in this case the fiber is distinctly and separately deposited in the material. You have two separate nozzles, one for the you can see one for the polymer and the other one for the fiber, and they work together at the position where the fiber and where the polymer has to be deposited, and they may work simultaneously or they may work intermittently. However, they remain separate, they carry out their task separately, and this is being effectively done. One of the findings by the researchers Mee et al. Is that this gives a good quality, high strength material which has comparable properties with the existing setup. Now this is one of the machine that we have at our place. It is Markforged USA make machine known as Mark II, and this is a machine which is able to print continuous fiber with nylon polymer, and it gives reasonably very good quality product with high strength. Here in this case, what is the principle is, you have two separate nozzles. One nozzle is meant for the polymer and the other one is for the fiber. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So in this case, you have two different nozzles, and both the nozzles work in parallel with each other. In this particular machine, it is possible to use nylon filament, and there is a trademark material by the original manufacturer, which is named as Onyx by them, with a diameter of 1.75 mm. So it is same as the usual filaments that is available in market. And there is a possibility to go for three different fiber reinforcements. You can use carbon fiber, you can use Kevlar fiber, and you can use glass fiber. And there is a special variety of glass fiber which is known as HSHT, which is high strength, high temperature. And the diameter of this carbon fiber is maintained at 300 microns. So these two materials can be effectively extruded together. Now this is something about the machine. The streaming has started. I hope the streaming is visible to you. I am thankful to my research team who prepared this video for our presentation. And this is the Mark.
Hello. Sir, am I audible to you, sir? Okay, sir.
Hello. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so is the video streaming?
Yes, sir. It's streaming, but it's taking time to buffer.
Okay, so now is it streaming? Are you able to see those two nozzles?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so here we have two different separate nozzles, and based on the type of material we use, we can very well understand that there are two different supplies for polymer as well as for the filament. One of the advantage of this machine is that this build platform can be separated, unlike other machines. Now, if you can separate this build platform, which is magnetic, so it fits well. This is the spool for the fiber. So when this build platform is separated, it is possible to easily remove the printed part after the process. Otherwise, sometimes it so happens that this platform gets harmed when we try to remove the separate the sample from it. So here there are two separate nozzles. The black color nozzle is for the polymer and the brass nozzle is for the fiber. Now these two nozzles are connected with the supply of
Hello. Sir, you are not audible.
hello. Am I
Yes, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so these are the two separate feed systems for the fiber and the polymer. The fiber often absorbs some sort of moisture. So to maintain proper quality, a dry box is used, and that is mandatory for this material supplied with the machine. So this dry box is utilized, wherein the polymer filament, the spool of the polymer filament is placed into it so as to protect it from moisture. So this is the overall setup which is being used. Now there are certain process parameters. I hope this slide is changed and I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are two major process parameters along with the other parameters. One is the orientation, how we print the part. So one is the flat orientation.
Hello. Sir, you are not audible. Okay, sir.
So the short edge is placed on the platform, and this is how it is deposited. By and large, it is found that the flat orientation provides the best result, and on short edge provides the poor strength of the part that is printed. The other parameter, the second parameter is pattern. You can use triangular pattern of filling the layer, or you can print in the hexagonal pattern, or the most widely used and most easily and faster way of deposition is the rectangular pattern. So these are the two major parameters, the orientation and the pattern, which can be set. Over and above that, once you put up once you fix up the pattern, you can also incline the deposition at certain angles. So when you are printing it in the rectangular isotropic fiber orientation, then it is possible to go for three different orientations: 0 degree, 0 degree as in this, 45 as in this, and 90 degree as in this one. Over and above that, it is also possible to deposit the fibers This is specifically meant for fibers, not for the polymers. Similarly, you can place the fiber in the concentric.
Hello, Dr. Dave. Hello.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello. Sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, so as I said, fibers can be put up either in isometric fashion or in concentric fashion. In either of these two, it is possible either to orient them at certain angle or to deposit them in the certain number of concentric rings. Now, important aspect of this machine is their software. This is a cloud-based slicing software which works on the cloud server. So it's not installed on the computer that we use. So all the parameters have to be selected after connecting to the source. Even if I get disconnected, my voice get disconnected, the video is self-explanatory. So I hope this is streaming well. We can make selection of materials for the polymer. So certain type of material, this machine is capable of printing onyx, the nylon material, and we are selecting the fiber. So we may select any of the four type of the fibers. Now accordingly, the machine is capable enough to judge whether you have put up the selected material or not. We can fix up the infill density. If you want it to be 50% or 70% or 20%, we can fix up. How many out?
Hello.
Sir, you are not audible.
Dave, sir, you are not audible. Hello. Hello.
Hello,
Yes, sir.
am I audible, sir, now?
Yes.
Yes, sir, it's audible, sir. Audible.
Yeah, so okay, so we can select whether we want to go for concentric fibers. If it's concentric, how many circles we want, and if it is to be the isotropic fiber deposition, then at what inclination angle do we want to deposit that? So these selections can be made. Once we make the selections, the machine gives us part details, which is on the left side. It demonstrates how much time it would take, what would be the cost of material utilized, what would be the mass of material, volume of the material that would be utilized, the polymer as well as the fiber. And once we accept this, it also recommends certain changes in our selection as per their database. So they will suggest the best possible selection of the parameters. So we may accept either those suggestions, the warnings in the form of warnings, or we may skip. If we want to go for our own selections, then we may prefer to skip it. Otherwise, we may follow the one which is being suggested by the machine. So once you save the material, it is possible for you to see all the layers. Say this particular component has 32 layers. So each layer design you can see.
Sir, you are not audible. Hello. Dave, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so these are different layers which are visible, and there is possibility of changing the setup for any particular layer. Now with this selection of the parameters, how do we carry out the actual printing? So the setup is done. We can import the program into the machine setting, and accordingly for the selected material, it will heat it up at a suitable temperature. And am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, so we select the program that we have prepared, and that the 32 layer program, and accordingly the nozzle temperature, the build platform temperature, the temperature of the feed mechanism and the nozzles is achieved, and then effectively the printing would start. I would slightly skip this so to enable us through the faster streaming. So this is how the printing takes place. You can see that certain layers are being printed, and so that is how space is generated, and then we are depositing now we are depositing it at 45 degree, so that 45 degree deposition is taking place, and eventually the part is printed. So the part once it is printed, we can remove the bed outside, and then we can easily remove the printed part from the build platform, and this provides a proper good quality product. Now, how do we come to that conclusion of a good quality product? You can see this one. This is one particular layer which is visible. You can see this is the particular stage where this yellow color shows the fiber. This is the fiber part, and this one is the polymer. So you can see this glass fiber is deposited at that particular way. You can see these outer rings, so those rings are also visible, and whatever space remains empty, that is filled with the nylon polymer. You can see over here at different positions. So at these positions you can see the nylon
Sir, you are not audible. Hello.
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Just give me a minute. I'll rejoin through another system. Let us see if it works or not.
Okay, sir. Request to all the participants and wait for few minutes.
I have joined through another system. Can you enable the share option?
Just a minute, sir. Sir, now you can share the screen.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So is this slide visible for the sliced geometry and printed part?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So probably I'll not be able to use my pen now, but okay, never mind. That should work. In case if again I'm disconnected, just let me know. Okay,
Okay,
so
sir.
as I was trying to discuss that it is possible to project a particular layer of the part wherein in the real picture you can see the white color is the fiber, the glass fiber, and in the geometry you can see the golden color is the fiber. So wherever the space is empty after putting the fiber, that is filled with the nylon filament, and that is black in color. So this particular layer is clearly visible, wherein the way in which we design the same is reproduced on the part. After printing this, we have initiated some study on checking the strength of the parts by tensile testing or flexural testing or impact testing. Some of the initial results are available, but still we are yet to go for the full-fledged study, report full-fledged study. So we follow the ASTM D638 standard for the tensile testing, wherein we can observe that the parts with carbon fiber exhibit quite better strength, at least 3 times the strength as compared to the polymer itself. So when the nylon polymer exhibits around 32 megapascal, you can observe that the simple fiberglass or HSHT fiberglass improves it by at least 4 times to 126 and 131 megapascal respectively. And most of this strength is exhibited by that can be seen from this graph, that this is being exhibited by the fibers. So generally we see that when the polymer is elongated, it results into ductile failure with certain amount of deformation prior to it. However, when the fibers are used, we observe a good initial strength and very less strain, and at the same time we observe that this results into the brittle failure. So the strength of the fiber is helping to improve the strength of the overall part. You can see the the fibers being cut and their effect on the way in which the elongation can be reduced and brittle failure can be exhibited. Similarly, we also had some impact testing using D256 standard, wherein we observed that there is a good improvement in the strength, and this is to the tune of about 8 to 9 times. So a simple nylon polymer which shows the strength of 86 joules per meter, as compared to that almost the fiberglass exhibits 770 joules per minute. So it is possible, you can see that it is possible to drastically improve the strength. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it is possible to drastically improve the impact strength of the part with the help of the fiberglass. These are some of the sample images. I'll skip the discussion so as to keep it faster. Similar material, the same material, the nylon filament with the carbon fibers, not the glass fiber, but the carbon fibers, have been used by big area additive manufacturing system, which is developed at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. And they are able to print very large scale geometries with carbon fibers. So here you can see a full scale aerospace trim tool is printed, and a single piece material is printed. So there is no requirement of going for the assembling of the parts, and that helps to improve the strength manifold. So
That is one important application that has been reported. Another important observation is reported by a startup known as Local Motors. So what they have done is they have printed the entire body of electric car in a single print. You can see the large size of the printer in their lab and the image of the car also. It's a single print with the nylon nylon polymer and carbon fiber. So as we saw that there is a possibility to improve the impact strength by 10 times, this car that way would be far more safer than the usual polymer parts that are being used to fabricate the bodies of our cars. After talking about these fiber reinforced composites, I now wish to discuss something about the polymer nanocomposites. In this particular case, usually nanopowders, nanomaterials like graphene, like carbon nanotubes, like nanoceramic and metal nanoparticles are being used in the matrix of polymers so as to improve the strength of the part. And by and large, most of the research that is reported has shown that graphene is a remarkable material which helps to improve the electric, mechanical, and thermal properties of the base polymer matrix material. And efforts to use FDM, SLA, direct ink writing, the SLS process, graphene has found very good application as far as different types of structures are to be printed for different applications. We attempted to create a graphene based filament. So what we tried to do was we mixed the graphene in the proportion of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% in PLA polymer. And using the extrusion system that we have in our lab, we tried to extrude the filament, and as can be seen, the 1% or say 3% of the graphene is mixed with the PLA granules. Graphene has a very high surface area. So once we mixed and dried this mixture in the vessel, what we observed that all the pellets, all the PLA granules, they were covered with the graphene material. We used certain hardener and certain additives, liquid additives, so that this can be mixed with each other well. And we observed that almost 100% PLA granules were covered with this graphene material. That high surface area it has. And then certain process parameters were by trial and error fixed, and the part was dried, and we ensured that the diameter remains 1.75 mm so that it can be extruded through our usual FDM 3D printer. So this filament was used, and different nano filaments, nano composite based filaments with 1%, 3%, and 5% graphene were fabricated. And we found, initially we have found that 1% is good enough for improving the strength, and as compared to the higher material, which often results into agglomeration. So that may reduce the strength to some extent. However, our initial observation is that still, as far as mechanical strength is concerned, like the tensile strength or the flexural strength, the neat material is better than the graphene mixed PLA. However, the other properties like thermal properties and electrical properties are found to be slightly improving. However, we have not yet reported those results. The third type of composite which I wish to talk about is the ceramic based polymer composite. We know that ceramics are finding very high applications in various biomedical applications because they are biocompatible, they are highly resistant to corrosion, and most important thing is they are very much flexible. So they can exhibit properties which our natural bonds have. So certain ceramics like titanium oxide, zirconium oxide, aluminum oxide, and calcium ceramics have been attempted as reinforcement materials with different polymers as matrix like polyamide, polypropylene, and PLA. So in this case, they are mixed into certain proportion, and then the parts are being printed. One important observation is by his team, wherein they tried to print some ceramic powder, the hydroxyapatite, with polycaprolactam PCl. So HAPCl was created, and it was observed that it is highly flexible under compression situation. So the shape with which you see over here resembles the cross section of a human bone, the thigh bone, and this part you can see it is able to resist the deformation. Once the load is removed, it comes back to its original shape. So such flexibility is achieved. Even to some extent, the finger compression test is also showing similar type of result. Once you remove the slightest of the compression load that you apply, the material is able to return back to its original shape. So we see that many limitations of the polymers like brittleness and poor mechanical strength, they can be overcome by creating polymer ceramics. So for various applications like bone graft, then this type of bioceramics can be generated, and they can become an alternate to the existing system of using, say, the titanium based or the steel based rods and the nuts and screws which are being used right now. Over and above the biomedical applications, these polymer ceramics composites have found applications in various other domains, like making the casting molds, like microelectronic components, sensors, photonic crystals. You can see one of the reported work from a review paper which suggests that silicon oxide is used through SLA process to fabricate bioceramic scaffolds, the photonic crystals, the hollow turbine blade, and you can just observe the size. They are less than 2 mm. The hollow turbines, the impellers, and even the mini investment casting molds. So this way, the polymer ceramics are finding applications in vast field. However, in many cases, they are still restricted to very specialized applications, and still they are not into the usual shop floor applications owing to the expertise that is required, number one, and number two, owing to the cost that is involved. Another aspect when we go for the ceramic or the metal based composites is the nozzle material. Usually we see that brass is used for different types of polymer printing. However, because of the clogging that we observe, especially in case of these fibers or ceramics or metal based composite filaments, brass is replaced with hardened steels so that we can avoid the internal wear and subsequently the increase in the size of the nozzle opening because of such wear. So usually when composites are being printed, hardened steel nozzles are preferred as compared to the brass nozzles. Finally, I come to my discussion on the metal composites, the polymer metal composites. There are certain properties like adhesiveness, like flexibility, like conductivity, like processability, toughness, strength. These properties are compromised in polymer based parts. But when you mix metals in powder form, a very micro size of metallic powder, if you mix with these polymers as a reinforcement, then we are able to improve the properties which I just discussed. So the way I showed the filament with graphene, we can generate filaments with a certain metallic powder, and that can be used to print the parts. However, this is slightly difficult as far as FDM process is concerned if we consider the open source printers, because of the poor, I won't say poor, but weak dimensional accuracy which the X and Y axis demonstrate. You cannot expect the axis movement, the coordinates, the accuracy and the precision of the positioning of the coordinates on a open source machine, which costs you somewhere around 20,000-25,000 rupees, as compared to the high-end machines. However, they can print, but the accuracy level may not be possible to achieve. So if you are investing money in fabricating some parts with metal powder, and that way, if the raw material becomes a costly part, then it is not advisable to move on a the poor accuracy of the machine. It is preferable to go for high-end machines to print the metal-based polymer filaments rather than using the open source printers. However, there is still scope of investigation into it. One of the limitation with the metal-based composites is its viscosity. So when we mix the metal powder into the polymer, then it is severely affecting the viscosity, the flow of the extruded part from the nozzle. So because of that, we often need to add different additives like various surfactants and various plasticizers, so that the material can effectively flow. The metal mixed polymer can effectively flow, and the material can be deposited at the right position in the right proportion. So most widely used metallic powders as on date for polymer metal composites is aluminum and the iron powders. And usually efforts have been made to use ABS, polypropylene, and polyamide polymers. It is observed that when you mix metallic powder into the polymers, there is an improvement in the thermal property of the parts. And as we increase the size of these particles or the proportion of these particles to certain level, it is observed that the thermal properties are improving. However, this metallic powder severely affects the nozzle, and so if the nozzle opening increases, then there comes the error of depositing the material at the right position, and so the form and the geometrical accuracy are compromised. When we discuss about the FDM process for composite printing over traditional procedures, we find that the manufacturing of the parts, the printing of the parts by FDM, or in that way the 3D printing process, you don't need any sort of molds which you need in the resin infusion or in the hand layup process. So the cost of making molds is totally eliminated. The time that is required in fabricating those molds is totally eliminated. The other advantage is when we go for the usual conventional processes, there is a large amount of scrap. Even after the cured material you see, you observe defects more often into it, because of which you have to put it under scrap. However, when you are printing this, almost there is no scrap of material. If your program is right and if your machine is then the parts that are printed are they have good capabilities. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Advantage is when you are printing parts with 3D printing, you require almost no post treatments. over and above the treatment you made in case of FDM, where the staircase effect comes into picture. So on the outer periphery, you need to go for certain post treatment. Over and above that, you generally do not need any sort of post treatments, which you need in the conventional processes. And the other thing is, once you have the right design, right 3D model, and once the STL file generation is perfect without any defects, without any limitations, the entire process is automated. So there is no scope of human error cropping in during the printing part. However, if you compare it with the traditional process, the entire process is human centric. And so there is a huge chance of human errors coming in the final part that is traditionally manufactured by the usual process. Now, when I discuss this, I would have some list down some of the research scopes, and there is a possibility to work on any or all of them. See, right now the composites that we see, they are either carbon fiber based or glass fiber based, and the cost of these fibers is even almost double than what the polymer costs. And if it is trademarked, then it is enormous. Now, when we are trying to be environmentally conscious, it is always a good idea to try natural fibers. So there is a scope of working on the natural fiber-based composites as the same way as the man-made fibers are used in the process. This will help us to replace the man-made fibers, and will try to create parts which are more environmental friendly. Now, when we try to add different types of metallic particles, we have observed that aluminum and iron are the major particles which are being investigated. But there is a scope that we can also try either different metal particles, the mixture of different metal particles, or to that extent, different other metal particles also. And the scope and its feasibility in the improvement of the properties exhibited with such composite as compared to the polymer, that can also be investigated. There is very less amount of literature which talks about the metallic powders other than aluminum and iron. Now, I talked about the fabrication of FDM filaments where certain nanoparticles or certain metallic particles are coated. However, there is a scope to try the more number of nanoparticles. Even it is possible there is a scope that we can mix the diamond dust into it. That dust is also having size microns. So that dust is of no use to the diamond industries. But that can be mixed with the filaments, and probably it can help to improve the strength many folds. So there is even a group of fabricating different composite filaments and coming up with them. The Chinese filaments that we get, the neat filaments of say ABS and PLA, they cost somewhere around 1,200 rupees per kg. However, when we try to design material, the average cost which we thought of at our place was somewhere around 150 to 200 rupees. Now, if you can mix certain additives and create the particles, create the filaments, they would hardly cost around 1,500 rupees, as compared to the Chinese filaments with metals or ceramic powders, which are around 6, 7, 8, 10,000 rupees per kg. So that cost can also be drastically brought down. So there is a good scope of investigating different filament composites, composite filaments fabrication, and then making it accessible for the market as a whole. So these are different research scopes, and these are not only the research scope, it is scope of commercialization also. So this is just to encourage the young researchers to take up something similar to it, or only an individual to gain proficiency, but it can also serve the industry and society as a some of the references which I have used in my article. These are some of the facilities which have institute across 2 or 3 different labs. We work on FDM and SLA 3D printing. We carry out printing of carbon fibers and glass fibers. We have our own neat filaments as well as the composite filaments. We blend different polymers and come up with the multi-polymer filaments. We also work on nanocomposites as far as the printing is concerned. You can read and follow me on various social medias, and you are also welcome. Things are getting normal now, so you are all welcome to our laboratory situated near the workshop on our campus. So with this, I come to the end of our today's discussion. Thank you very much, and I regret the problems we faced as far as the audio is concerned during the session. However, I hope that I have been able to convey some good results and some good research scope to you. And now I am open for questions.
If any participant wants to ask the question to sir, you can ask by unmuting yourself.
I suppose even if there are no questions right now, the participants can always write to me, approach, and I'm always open to discussions and collaborations with parties.
Those who are not able to ask directly, they can also mention their question in the chat box so that I can ask on behalf of you. Sir. Mr. Chaitanya. Mr. Chaitanya. Mr. Chaitanya.
Am I audible? Hello.
Dr. Yomesh. Hello. There are some questions. Issue. Just a minute.
Yeah, you may put up.
Yes, sir. Just give me a minute, sir.
You directly put up, or maybe you can type in the chat box.
Sir, one question is there. How to make nanocomposite using 3D printing? Hello, Dave sir.
Hello. Yes.
Sir, one question is there. How to make nanocomposite using 3D printing?
Yes. Okay. I think in one of the slide I have discussed it. So this is one of the effort where we have created a film wherein we mixed nanoparticles. The graphene, whose size is around that we try to the PLA polymer, and we fabricated the filament. So that is one way. you can create a filament, and with that filament, you can print the part. So if you are using FDM process, that is a better way. If you want to use SS process,
Hello, Dave sir.
hello, hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that we may use the nano particles to be embedded with the polymer and create a filament for FDM. If we want to use SLS process, then it is possible that we can mix the nanoparticles with the fibers. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So we can mix with the regular powder in SLS process, and that is how we can create nanocomposites with SLS process. With the SLA process, it is slightly tricky because you need to mix the nanoparticles with the resin in certain proportion. Now, resin is always a highly viscous liquid fluid. So when you mix particles into it, you need to ensure that those particles remain suspended evenly in the resin. Then and then you will be able to spread the particles evenly in different layers. It is not effectively possible to spread those particles properly after putting up the resin. So prior to spreading the resin layer, it is necessary that we mix the particles into it. There are quite a few literature available where people have tried to report it, but still it is at the research level and it is still not being practiced widely as far as SL is concerned. So if I conclude about the nanocomposites, usually FDM or SLS are the processes which are used to fabricate the nanocomposites. FDM for polymer-based composite, and SLS for polymer as well as metal-based composites. The next question.
Sir, shall we improve the fabrication time in 3D printing by modifying the design of extruder?
I did not get your question. Can you repeat, please?
Shall we improve the fabrication time in 3D printing by modifying the design of extruder?
See, when you say you want to modify the design of extruder, I believe you want to modify the capacity of the extrusion. I believe that. So say if you take the case of single screw or double screw extruder, where you can print few kgs, 10, 20, 30, 40 kgs per hour. On the other side, there are micro extruders, small size extruders, which are able to print as low as 250 grams of material. So if you compare these two different extrusion processes, probably you do not distinguish in the strength of the filaments that you get out of it. However, in case of these different types of extrusion, the time which is taken during the extrusion, the time taken for the polymer plus composites to come out from the dies, that will affect the heat that is accumulated into it, and later on the cooling time of it. And because of that, the strength of the filament might be different. So if the strength is different, then the way in which the time that the nozzle will take to heat it and partially melt it for the deposition would also change. So in a way, the strength of the filament would decide the time taken for the printing rather than the size of the extruder machine. The next question.
There are no further questions.
Okay. Fine. So thank you very much. And any of the participants, if you wish, you can visit our lab anytime. And if there are any further questions or queries, you can always write to me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. H.K. Dave, sir, for the session. Avoiding some disturbances, the session was very good. And we hope the content of the session will be helpful to the participants in their research work as well as in the studies. Thank you very much from the Thakur Diploma Engineering.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to your program. And I wish all the success in the subsequent days of the program. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Again, instructions to the participants. The link for the feedback of the session, last session is given in the link. It's request to the participants to fill the feedback of the session. And at last, thank you. That is all for the day. Tomorrow, the session will start at 10 a.m. morning. Thank you. Mr. Ashok Mane, the link is already mentioned in the chat box. You can directly fill the feedback from chat box.
Am I heading? Look now.